Namaste, I am Sridhar Banigiri, welcoming you to my channel. Today I have an important sharing which I wanted to do. The sharing which I want to do now is completion. What is completion? What are the different ways to be complete? What is incompletion? This is what I want to share. How completion affects us. All this sharing which I am doing is my personal experience. My personal experiences which I want to share, and I welcome and I encourage my viewers to be with me or to be along with me when I am having this sharing. It's like together we are looking at an important factor called completion in our lives. So I welcome each one of you to be with me, and together we will find out, in this self-discovery we will together find out how much completion will have an effect on us and how much incompletion will have an effect on our lives. Basically, beginning I want to share one very important thing. I had fear or phobia when I see water. If I go near a swimming pool or if I go near a pond where water is there, I was having lot of fear phobia. I never used to go near that. Even if we had gone to Chennai or Mangalore near the beach, I always keep a distance from the water, and I used to tell my people who come along with me also not to go near the water. I was having this fear with me, a huge fear. The fear was so much that I will immediately when I see water, I will be in a safe distance. So I wanted to get away from this fear. So I thought I will go for swimming. Then I started going, and then I went and took training to learn swimming. While I was swimming also, there was fear of water. I learned swimming. The best part is, when I learned swimming also, I never used to go where there is more than 6 feet depth of water. I will never go. I will be swimming only within the depth of 6 feet. This was, I learned swimming like this. So though I know swimming, but I will not swim in more than 6 feet. I will not go near the swimming pool. Actually, there was a fear, which was deeply inside me, which most of them near my swimming pool also never noticed. This got a transformation, or this underwent a transformation when I attended the Inner Awakening program in September, conducted by Paramahamsa Nithyananda. His Holiness Bhagavan did many process. In this many process, this completion process was very, very important. In this completion process, I understood why I had this fear when I used to go near water bodies. Wherever there is water, why I used to get fear, I could relate it to it. I will share that. And when I am sharing, my sharing also may open up many incidences in your life also. This is when I was very young. That is when I was almost 8 to 10 years, I think. When in that range, we had a big playground near my house, and we used to play in the ground. All my friends, we used to play in the ground. And little far away from the playground, there was a tank. There's a water tank, a huge water tank to supply water. The water from the water used to be collected in that tanks, and it will be supplied to all the houses and localities or colonies. The water used to go from the tank. It's a very huge tank, big tanks. 2 tanks were there. In this summer season, children from other colonies also used to come, and they used to play along in the ground. And sometimes some children used to go near, some kids used to go near the pond, and 1 or 2 deaths would occur at that time. So 1 or 2 deaths due to the kids not knowing swimming, they will jump into the water and they used to die. When I was young, this fear was, these scenes were very much haunting me. When somebody falls in the tank and the kid dies, there was a huge gathering of people, and they used to be it all chaos always. So this fear, somewhere when I was young, this fear sat in me. So whenever I used to see water, my advice from my elders were that don't go near the water. So seeing these one or two incidents like this, once when I went to a village where nearby town we had our village. When I went to my village, there also in the what you call, in the pond, a boy fell down and he died. So that scenes were coming when I was doing this completion process. In this inner awakening period, when I was doing this completion process, those pictures were appearing to me, where many people used to run, and there's a cry, wailing of people that a kid has fallen in the water and is dead. These scenes were haunting me. Due to this incidents, somewhere I have developed a fear psychosis not to go near water. To break away that fear not to go near water, I went and learned swimming. Even when after learning swimming also, I never used to go and swim where there is more than 6 feet depth. I never used to swim. This got transformed when I was doing my inner awakening program. The completion process, what we were doing, in this completion process, Bhagavan Paramahamsa Nithyananda very clearly explains the completion process, the techniques, what is there in this completion process is, when we relive those incidents where we reliving means just being in that situation again, reliving that situation. While reliving those situations again and again, whatever is stopping us now in the present, that which is stopping us will be overcome, or those deep incompletions in us we will be overcome. This was a technique, and this technique Paramahamsa Nithyananda said that this technique was adopted in our Shastras from Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. He has taken these techniques, and with these techniques we used to learn about completion. How when we complete with our patterns, how when we complete with our childhood days, or when we complete with certain issues, those problems which are incomplete, which is always haunting us, we will actually leave us. Friends, this is a sharing which I did on one aspect of fear which I had when I was seeing water. Like this, there are a lot of things, lot of incompletions we carry around. Most of the time we don't even know that it's incompletion that is haunting us. The deeper incompletions will appear like this fear psychosis when I used to see water bodies. There are other things also which we need to understand what completion is. So I encourage you to look into the aspects which I share, and I'm sure these aspects which I'm sharing will definitely open up new avenues to us. As I'm sharing, if you have any relationship, or if you have any relativity with those aspects which I'm sharing, do please connect with it. And this together only we can go forward. This togetherness of understanding ourselves is what I call this videos, or whatever sharing I'm doing is self-analysis videos or self-knowledge videos which I'm making. Paramahamsa Nithyananda very clearly says there are 4 aspects of our lives that we need to understand you, he says. Here, referring you means it's me, it's also you. I refer this you, when I refer this you, it means you, and also it means me. This is when you understand you in totality, you will know what exactly knowing you, or introducing you to you, what we call. So, before finding out what is you, introducing you to you, we need to understand there are 4 aspects which are very important in our life. The first aspect is our inner image. The next aspect is the outer image. The third one is others' image. Fourth one is life's image. In Sanskrit, this is called as, the inner image is called as mamakara. The outer image is called as ahamkara. And life image is called anyakara. Others' image about us is called swa-anyakara. These aspects, how this, I will give an example. By giving an example, we will together find out how important these aspects are. When I say inner image, all those things which I talk to myself, the self-talk I do with myself is the inner image. Outer image is whatever image I am projecting. My self image, inner image will be different, but the way I am projecting to the world outside is different. Outer image is different. Then we have others' image, others' opinion about us. What the society in which we live, people who we are interacting will have an image about us. That is called others' image. And the image we carry about life is called life image or anyakara. Now why this I am emphasizing is, there are multiple personalities in each one of us. Each time we are acting differently. What we say one time, the next minute or next session we would have said something else. So you would have observed when you are dealing with people, you will notice or you will observe there is multiple personalities in a person. These multiple personalities, how it happens? If we understand these 4 aspects of our life, we can understand how this multiple personalities will show up in us. Basically, this is incompletion. A person having multiple personalities itself is an incompletion. The subject today is about incompletions and completions. I will come to that. Before that, I am trying to understand and I am trying to share with you how these multiple personalities appear. For instance, if I have an image about life, my life image, let's say my life image, our life image, I am having a life image that life is very much beautiful, life is joyful, life is abundance, and life is blesses us with so many good things, and I have a very nice image about life. That's called life image. That is my image, that is my opinion about life, is like that. The same way, if I have that life is very hard, life is difficult, people are all very tough, it's difficult to understand persons, it's difficult to understand people, people are all cynical, only they come to us when there is something which they want, they will come to us. If I have that image about life, that also is one image, that is also one image or one experience of life which I am having. So here there are 2 things. One is I have a life image that life is blissful, life is joyful, life is in abundance, cosmos blesses us always. I have that things about life image, and also there is the other things like life is cynical. All these things are, then those things also I have about life image. Now there is something I called as inner image. Inner image is whenever I have my own self-talk, or whenever I am thinking I am good, I am very nice person, I am very kind-hearted person, I am very empathetic to others. If I have that feelings in me, that is my inner image. And I may be projecting, my outer image may be different. I may not be willingly projecting that outer image. The outer image, what I am projecting is, I may have an inner image that I am very kind person, I am very empathetic person, I care for others, I have a lot of compassion, I have this inner image. but my outer appearance and outer projection would be I am very tough, I am very strict, or I am very rude. That projection I may be giving. So there are these four aspects, or different aspects are there. One more thing I want to tell. All these four aspects, the center point is you. I am the center point. With me as the center point, all these four aspects are happening in me moment to moment. Moment to moment, these four aspects are happening in me. I told I will tell you what this multi split personalities I told you I will share. Suppose in my inner image, when I am very kind, when I am very compassionate, I would have told that I will do some favor to a friend. I would have committed also. I would have told that person I will give you this, or I will do something which I felt I wanted to do for him. I would have committed. And when the time comes to honor that commitment, my life image which I told, the life image which has that people are cynical, people look only for advantages in you. If I add that image, if that image plays on me at that time, maybe I will be showing myself differently to the person where I committed. So there itself there is split personality. The person who is interacting with me will be confused about that same guy who told that he will do some favor to me. Believing him I came, now he is showing different colors. If you come back in the evening and sit quietly, if you see it, we only will feel ashamed of ourselves that we have acted differently in different types, and we get confused and we doubt ourselves, and we most of the time hate ourselves also. The subject is very much within completion itself. How this happens, why this happens, and how these completions and incompletions play on us is very interesting. When we keep on looking at ourselves, it's very interesting matter, very interesting subject. Now, how all this happens, why this happens? If you observe very deeply, now I'll have to share one more thing. That thing which I want to share is what exactly is, how exactly we react, or how exactly we respond to life around us. How we do that. That I want to give I have to give a brief introduction about that. How we respond to life. Friends, we all know that we are having five senses. With these five senses, we look at objects, how we perceive things. Perception happens in these five senses. Touch, seeing, hearing. All this, whatever we see, whatever perception happens, immediately we respond. After seeing, immediately we respond and tell that what we are seeing, we react to that world. For instance, if this is a camera, I know this is a camera because of the information which is stored inside me. The information or knowledge which I have about this device, as soon as I see this, I can tell it is a camera. It all happens in a fraction of a second, nanosecond speed it happens. Whatever I perceive, it gets internalized, processed, and immediately it responds that this is a camera. Like this, there are different situations. When you see a person, after 10 years you see a person, as soon as we perceive that person, we relate to the information which is stored in us. We remember that person and we relate that images with that person, and then we tell that person's name, or we will interact with that person based. But it may take little time to understand or to recognize that person. It may take little time for us, because from 10 years we have not seen that person. So all this, what we can call as cognition, all this is cognized, and all the information is there stored within us. When I shared the incidents of the childhood instance where my locality kids we used to go to swim and die in the pond without knowing swimming, at that time I would have cognized very differently that situation. Whatever was there at that situation, I would have cognized it differently. With that cognition, I would have added emotion. So when that deep rooted patterns will be sitting inside me. So whenever I see water, after so many years also, unconsciously that fear factor is coming out. Because of the fear factor coming out, I am having fear phobia with water. Until I go back and change my cognition about that water, I change my cognition about water, I'll be carrying this forever and ever. So here we should understand that the cognition what is there in us can be changed, or we can change the cognitions in us which we have. Similarly, when I told that when you have a life image that life is abundant and life is blissful, joyful, and the cosmos showers, blesses you always, if I cognize in that way, or that cognition also, it's me who has decided to cognize like that. It's me who had decided to cognize the other way also. So when I cognize it in one particular way, based on the experience, when it gives me pain or pleasure, I know the cognition what I have done is wrong about that. So why I am telling this is, this cognition can be changed. All our incompletions, or incompletions in the sense where we are powerless, where we do not understand ourselves, where we fail to express our true potential or possibilities, it happens only when there is incompletion stored in us. This incompletions we may not be aware of it, because the way I told, the way we respond, when I said this is a camera, the way it internalizes and responds instantaneously in nanoseconds, life occurs to us like that. In all these four aspects, like inner image, outer image, life image, others image, these images is affecting the person who's in center. Until and otherwise, the person who's in center decides that he has to cognize in a different way, and he has to relate everything in a different way. He has to change things in a different way to have a blissful, happy life. He will remain to be in incompletion. He will remain to feel suffocated. He will remain to be in stress all the time. I went to stress, I went to sorrow, I went to all these things. It is in us to decide whether we want to live a happy life, joyful life, or want to live a stressed life, or a life which is incomplete or powerless. So this inner science, if one knows, if one can touch upon this inner science only, self-knowledge only, then only he can have, or he can live the way he wants. Now, it is not, it looks so complicated. Whatever I am saying may be looking so complicated. But when we sit down contemplate on whatever things which we discussed, definitely it will take us to more and more inner peace and inner completions in us. Now I will come to the actual. What is completion and what is incompletion? All those places where I was powerless, where I was not enjoying the life as I has to enjoy, or where I was not feeling joyful and blissful, where I was powerless, all happens because of our incompletions. And these incompletions are all stored deep down within us, and it is expressing whenever we see anything, whenever we are in situation, whichever situations we are, it shows up in that same way. For instance, when we see somebody who's ugly, immediately we cognize, and we hate to be with that person. Or in any situation when we see a very huge personality, immediately we see that and we are incomplete with ourselves. Many of these things are situations, there is completion happening in us always. So this incompletions, what I say, is in all the areas and all the aspects of our life. It may be in our relationships, it may be in our profession, in whichever, it may be with our boss, it may be with the life around us, it may be with the people who are ruling us. Whoever we see, if we are feeling powerless within ourselves, it is because of the cognitions or because of the root patterns that we have had, bad experiences which we have stored inside us. These bad experiences will keep showing up, and we will be moving around with people with incompletions. Surprisingly, I have seen people who live as husband and wife, they fight with each other, they don't talk, or they don't have a relationship at all, because they have cognized things so very differently. They have failed to understand what is joyful living. Friends, I am not trying to preach here. I am only expressing how these cognitions in us will lead us to have we live a life which is less powerful, or it is powerless life. Now, one technique which I want to share for completion, which again I have learnt from Paramahamsa Nithyananda's satsangs. I have learnt one of these techniques where he very clearly says, completion, anything which we talk to ourselves, whenever we talk to ourselves, the person who talks to us, that dimension of us which talks to us, that dimension of you that talks to you, I'll put it this way, that dimension of you which talks to you is always in incompletion. That dimension of you which listens to you is always in completion. So beautiful it is. That dimension of you that talks to you is always in incompletion. He refers that inner space where which is always constantly chattering, or always constantly there is a conversation happening in us. Is that conversation is what is you talking to you. We keep on talking to ourselves. Before going to sleep, we don't get sleep because there's lot of thoughts running in our mind. The chattering you is happening in us. Because of the chattering you happening in you, that is, you are talking to you. When you are constantly talking to you, make it a point that you are living in incompletion. So that aspect is what I want to share, how to handle these completions and incompletions. That is what I wanted to share with my viewers. Generally, basically, I have given everything about completion and how incompletions happen in us. Now, actually, I want to share that knowledge which I have gained, which I have experienced personally. That experiential knowledge which I have touched upon, I am sharing that with you. When I said you talking to you, there is a chattering mind, there is a constant talk within ourselves. Better I will tell a story. The story with story I think understanding will be more easier. There was a father and son. This story many of my viewers would have listened to this, already heard the story. I want to share that story with you. A father and son, they had a donkey and they want to go and dispose the donkey, or they want to sell the donkey in the neighboring village. In the monthly market, they want to take this donkey and go and sell it and get some money. So father and son decide to go to the market. So from one village they had to go to another village, which is almost one whole day walk, whole day journey they have to go. Only if they leave in the morning their house, they will reach in the evening. By the evening they will go and reach the market, and in the market they wanted to go and sell the donkey. So both father and son start walking to the market. They get up in the morning, they carry their bags, they carry the food and all, they start walking to go to the market to sell the donkey. As they are walking, as they are going, there are a group of passers-by who see them, and they start laughing at them, and they start conversing, and they'll be conversing, and they'll just comment on this donkey, they'll comment on the father and son, and they'll go. They'll be commenting like these two people will overhear that. What they'll comment is, see, these fools are just taking the donkey and carrying the luggage and they are just going along with the donkey. These fools, one of the person can sit on the donkey and he can ride unless they are not utilizing the donkey properly. Some conversation falls in their ears like this. Immediately father and son will decide. The father will say, son, you sit on the donkey and come, we will go. Why you want to walk? You sit. That's what they are saying is correct. We will use the donkey. You please sit on the donkey. He tell, and they'll keep walking. After 1 hour of walking, the passerby who are passing by along with them, who come across them, they'll see them and they'll start commenting. See, son is sitting on the donkey. Father is going, so disrespectful it is. The son does not have brains. He does not have one sense of affection to his father. He's making his father to walk and he's sitting on the donkey. Like this, comments will fall on their ears. Immediately father and son will decide, son, this is what they are talking, it is not right, not good. So I will also sit on the donkey. Both father and son will sit on the donkey and they will keep going. Another 1 hour will pass as they are walking like this. People who are seeing, again people who come across, they see the poor animal, how it is suffering. Both father and sons are able-bodied men. These two men are able-bodied. They are sitting on the poor donkey and they do such a cruelty they are having on the donkey. They don't have empathy towards the donkey, they say, and they comment like this and they go. Again father and son, they decide, yes, whatever they are saying is true. We do not have empathy. We should not show cruelty to this animal. Now let us carry this. Let us carry our donkey to the market. They say, they bring a big bamboo, they tie the donkey and they start carrying the donkey. As they are carrying the donkey, people on the way, they see them, laugh at them with that. Seeing they are laughing, this father and son react in such a way. When they are crossing a bridge, actually when they will be crossing a bridge, people will see them and laugh at them that they are carrying a donkey. When they start laughing at them, they react to them and the bamboo falls in the river and there ends the story. The donkey goes away in the river and father and son will be, left. You know what happens after that. This is the story. The moral of this story here is when we apply that story to ourselves, when we apply that story to our inner chattering, this is what happens. Whenever we see there anything, we unnecessarily react to things and we have incompletion in us. That which does not have any say, we keep chattering that in our mind, or we keep talking to ourselves about that. When maybe it may be a news which is not at all of value to us. Maybe it's circumstances, or maybe in your friend circle there is so many things in our life we see which we are unnecessarily talking to ourselves. This unnecessary talking to ourselves is what you talking to you. The story of the donkey here, it's if you apply it to ourselves, when we see that in ourselves how we react to things around us, how we are unaware what is happening in us. Most of the time we will be talking to ourselves. We get unnecessarily stressed because the person who's talking is talking to himself, you talking to you. He keeps on talking, the chattering mind, without even being aware of what's happening. We keep on talking, and there's stress. He tells, I can't sleep because there's a lot of stress in me. When he sees a news, that news is not at all for concern for him, he'll be overreacting to that. For instance, very recently we had this big news of, where our Prime Minister announced that 1,000 rupees and 500 rupees will be no more in the market. When he announced this, overnight, there was so much of conversation happening. For example, in me, I'm sharing that. So much of conversation happening in me, though I never had any huge 1,000 rupees notes or huge amount of 500 rupees notes, lot of conversation was happening in me. I was talking to myself. I was talking this. Most of the time I used to talk about this to myself. When I go to the bank, I used to talk about it. Unnecessarily, I used to see news, watch papers and see what is the effect happening. Very simple. If authentically speaking, I have no say in what Prime Minister Modi had declared. I have no say, neither I have any say to influence the finance minister. I have no say. But unnecessarily I keep talking on that. Unnecessarily I keep conversing on that. This is what is called as incompletions within ourselves. There are so many things which we keep on talking to ourselves and we are not complete with what it is. That person who listens to himself, means whatever we see, if you are aware, constantly if you are aware, bring that awareness in all the aspects, we will be 100% giving ourselves to life. Most of us would have experienced that when we are saying something to others, they will be in their own world, because their inner chattering is so much, and they, as soon as they see in such situation, they will be taking decisions based on their inner chattering or inner patterns or inner incompletions they have. Very rarely people act with completion. Very rarely we see people with calmness, with calmly watching or calmly taking decisions, because the chattering mind, that is you listening to you. When a person listens to himself very quietly, there is no chattering happening. This is what I understood about what completions and incompletions are. I encourage my viewers to look into these matters, look into this subject. It's a matter of interest is self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is the biggest knowledge anyone can have. So I encourage you all to, if you have any queries, any questions, do please write to me, I will respond. Do subscribe, like this channel. I will be coming out with many sharings which are all personal sharings. Definitely these personal sharings, whatever I am having, has an influence about my guru's teachings, and it is in sync or in authenticity. Whatever I am sharing is basically the experiential understanding or experiential learning, which happens when we start looking into ourselves. This is what I wanted to convey to my viewers. Thank you. Nithyanandam. Be blissful.